Hi there, this is Paul Wallen, and today we're gonna learn some amazingly easy and natural way to make pretty unusual and original melodies and chord progressions for your electronic dance music or not so electronic and perhaps not very dance music. But anyway, this method especially will take a good place if you somehow run out of your ideas with very basic, popular and worn out chord progressions, which pretty much bother some listeners today. But you gotta understand first that all the stuff in dance music must be based on simplicity. And all those simple chord progressions actually are everything that today's popular dance music is based on. And for now, we're not gonna reject it, we're just gonna pull some very tricky thing out on them in literally almost one action on a typing keyboard. And thus, we got ourselves a brand new and original chord progression. So how cool is that? And always a perfect example for a basic chord progression is the following progression of minor steps. 1, 6, 3, 7. Let's pick more mainstream sound. As I've said, some pretty used in every single song chords, but catchy still. I'm gonna even delete those fifth steps from our basic 4 chords and leave just thirds for more simplicity. But for wider sound of this instrument, let's make tones of these chords sound on a close to bass octave, and thirds will be pretty much the melody. And now the trick, we'll just take this first chord and make it the last one. Just drag it to the end there. Ctrl plus A to select everything and shift it back to the start of the grid. So now our second chord will be the first, and we've currently got this kind of progression. 6, 3, 7, 1. So now I want you to listen more carefully in what we got here. Don't you recognize this from somewhere? Yeah, in the base of the Chainsmokers' not so recent hit song, Don't Let Me Down, lies this precise melody and progression. And the trick to shift the progression up. So how easy was that in the meantime to get rid of some overused ideas and progressions? Can I one more time shift up that progression? And let me emphasize this. I'm not saying to switch chords randomly. I'm talking about only shifting chords positions by order. First to last. Doing that, we in some way trick our mind and hearing the progression of chords not really changing if we just start from here. It's just that in arrangement and rhythmic pattern of the whole song, our ear will gonna count from the first chord playing. But our ear can also be tricky and smart, so some people can actually feel and tell where exactly hides that sneaky chord which feels like home. Anyway, in mainstream understanding, that progression feels like some new thing and idea for us, and our hearing can actually like and love it, so it's the good thing for listeners and of course for musicians. So let's get back to business, and again, can I one more time switch that progression up? So in that case, this chord goes to the end of the progression. Get back here, Naughty. With that idea, our hearing can actually disagree with us. This story, in this case, can be untold a little bit, so we don't get it fully. So actually, idea here is not represented to the exact end. There is no completion in harmony and melody. So our job here is to make it just with the melody, leaving the bass progression, or it may be a chord progression as it is, with the melody notes to give that idea a good context for transition again and again. So we're gonna make some melody here using my favorite melody writing method called tension and release, which I will definitely describe in future videos, using already pre-existing steps for a melody, which are represented here in this way. Let me warn and notify you, those chords are gonna be the ghost notes from another channel in the same pattern for me to make this melody. Very simple, maybe even corny, but this can be the perfect context for this kind of bass notes progression. Or in some other cases, it can simply be full chord progression. The melody defines the story behind the progression, for our ear to make the idea out. And that's been the case with just one freaking overused progression. And here we are, spawning more and more not that overused ideas on the spot. For sure, you're free to try it on whatever progression you want. Just keep it in mind, you get to give the progression the appropriate context, you gotta define it. In our example, we did it with just the melody. You can also do it by transposing notes in your chords. And by making all kinds of interesting melodies. The overall sense of all I've shown you here, not to start from the first chord in your scale, from tonic chord, when you're coming up with a new idea, whether it be the progression or the melody with just the bass notes. The chord switching inside of a progression is probably the easiest way to get you some new and unused ideas. Ultimately, you can simply experiment starting not from the tonic chord and scale, not from the first chord and scale. Never mind chord switching. But please, make sure your idea has some meaning and a story to tell. And whether you want it or not, in every progression you make, at one point or another, you gotta give your listener that first chord of a scale, of a key, home chord, because our ear actually demands it, and after a long journey far from home wants it badly. Let's take some long journey together, and then I will take you back home and you will love me like crazy. Use these beautiful tricks in your harmony, chord building, and melody writing to make it more interesting, more entertaining, and mesmerizing. Today and anytime, the main key in music and art are uniqueness and originality. And of course, your author's hand. If you liked this video, you should like this video. And of course, if you know somebody who may love and be interested in this lesson, share it with them. They will definitely love you for this. Subscribe to stay tuned and hit that bell thing so you do not miss any of this sort of music production tricks. See ya.